Hello fellow YouTubers and welcome. Today I'm in the Halland, the tier 10 Dutch torpedo boat stroke hybrid stroke legendary Halland. The ship that gets inside CV mains heads rent free. She's got very high AA value. I have to admit she is the third strongest AA boat of her class at tier 10. Just slipping in above her by a fraction is the Smaland, that elusive destroyer that was FOMO and quite frankly unavailable unless you get really super lucky. And then above her we have the Ragnar, the absolute pinnacle of AA achievement. Right, currently I'm riding with the Napoli. We're capping C. We've got a variety of interesting ships ahead of us. The Lucian, the Alvaro de Bassin, the Napoli, the Brisbane, the Yoshino, and the Kurfürst. And on our flank we have a Yoshino. I can see the Alvaro is at A. Along with the Kurfürst, if you check the minimap, you can see that that's where two of their ships are. And on this flank so far, all we've seen is the Yoshino. I would love to know, however, where the Lucian is. I'm running RPF, as this is competitive. I will show you a full breakdown of the builds for this introduction to the Halland. Gonna just drop some torps there and there.
Engine boost activated.
Okay, we're going to stick the engine boost on and withdraw to the flank. Our Napoli's pushing in. That's not very good. He needs to get back, really. He's pushing into two cruisers. My torpedoes that I sent up the lanes have found nothing, but my RPF tells me there is a ship in the immediate vicinity. Now, I could be reading the Napoli, or I could be reading the Lucian. We haven't seen the Lucian yet. If you look on your mini-map, you'll notice we've got Kurfürst, Brisbane, and Alvaro all at A, being pushed by our Minotaur, Stalingrad, Schliefflin, and Shimakaze. So we're outnumbered on this flank, but we outnumber them on the other flank, which is why right now I'm sailing away with the idea of defending C. Napoli has decided that discretion is the better part of valor and has withdrawn. Very wise. But they really are trying to chase us down. Now, she's not the strongest ship anymore, the Halland. To be brutally honest, she's outshone her days, as it were, as one of the mainstream recommended. A lot of other destroyers have come out between then and now, and she has essentially suffered from quite a lot of power creep. That said, she still has decent torpedoes, reasonable guns, and is still very much a jack of all trades and a master of AA. So if you hate CVs and you like getting inside their heads and driving them nuts, maybe the Halland is for you. Okay, that torpedo wall looks pretty good. Let's have a look. We missed the first cruiser, but it looks like we're going to hit the Napoli. Oh my goodness.
We destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Dev strike, 6 hits. You see, so she's still got it. She's still a very capable destroyer, but notice I did that with the torpedoes, not the guns, okay? Is she a gunboat? Can you build into the guns as part of your hybrid dynamic and focus more on gun use than torpedo use? Yes, you can. You can. You lose a little bit of reload time on the torpedoes. Okay, that's what you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing about 20 seconds of cooldown reduction to build into the guns. In fact, actually, it's a little bit more than that. It's almost 23, 24, about 24 seconds of torpedo reload reduction. Okay, especially if you're doing what I'm doing and running the legendary mod. which increases your speed boost by 8%, buffs your health, regen, and adds consumables. It adds 1 charge to every single consumable, so you get an extra health, an extra boost, and an extra AA. The Lucian's here. I knew it. I flippin' knew it. He's right here. We knew he was on the flank. Unfortunately, my Napoli is no more, so it's just little old me and the Lucian. Now, the Lucian does technically outgun me. We sit at number 10, and the Lucian is riding high at the moment. She's in the top 5. So, we're not going to win a DPM gunfight. However, I've sent 1 set of torps low, 1 set of torps high, and he's maintaining his course. Torps look good, actually. But you can see he's absolutely annihilating us with his guns. But I think we have him with the torpedoes. Yeah. Bye-bye. So, I think the torpedoes are still very useful in 2025. I seem to be getting some good results here with them, even though I'm running a gunboat hybrid. With the emphasis, it's a hybrid with the emphasis on the guns. It's not a gunboat. It's a hybrid with the emphasis on the guns. The next few matches, I'll be trying a hybrid with the emphasis on the torpedoes, and I'll post my best results, and we'll see how they square up. So that's coming up right after this match that seems to be going extraordinarily well. Yeah, we'll definitely put this on the channel. So how are we doing? 8 good hits, couple of floods. We sunk 2 ships. I feel if you really want to unlock this ship in randoms these days, you've got to run Schwilzy, and you've got to run a 21-point captain. You might get away with 17 points, but you're going to want to get the rest of your skills up as fast as possible, because the Halland needs all the help she can get. Smaland completely annihilates you. Lucian completely annihilates you in gunfights. You've got to have your wits about you. She's a pretty good torpedo boat, but her torpedo DPM, you'd be surprised. I was. I looked up her torpedo DPM, and she ranks 29th in her class at her tier. Because the torpedoes don't hit very hard, you get, and you only get 10 of them, and they don't hit very hard. Okay. Bizarrely, of course, the Jaeger now exists, unfortunately. So if you want a pure torpedo boat and you want to move away from having strong AA and reasonable guns, then the Jaeger's probably your cup of tea. But if you like chasing destroyers down with RPF, torpedo boat destroyers in particular, then running the legendary mod and using gunboat build may be your cup of tea. And I'll explain why. You get an extra 8% on the speed boost, so you can do 42.3, 42.5. You can do almost 43 knots, which gives you a chance to catch Jaegers, yeah, and Shimikazes, yeah, and other torpedo boats. So, and you have better guns. Your actual gun DPM is higher than other torpedo boats in your class, but not higher than gunboats. Gunboats completely wreck you, okay? So be aware of that. Be very aware of that. And if you're going to chase torpedo boats, be aware of the positioning of the enemy fleet. Like this guy, you want to know where the radar cruisers are. It's so important to know where the radar cruisers are and where the hydro boats are, because their team may support their destroyer, and your team may not support you. So you want to find isolated targets. You want to isolate your targets, or you want to draw them into your fleet, so you get fleet support when you take them on. It is fun, and this ship is capable, but she's got a higher skill ceiling than she's ever had, because there's so many threats out there now. You don't have smoke, you don't have hydro. You really need, or at least I feel you really need, the legendary mod. Other people may disagree with me on that, and if you do, fair enough. You can lean into the guns and use a gun reload mod in that slot, or you can use slot 6 for improved torpedo reload. Okay, and you can improve by a further 15%. So if you want to be that standoff torpedo boat that never really gets too involved, and you don't want to chase CVs, and you don't want to chase down torpedo boats and that, don't run legendary mod. Use Just use the standard modules, and that will suit your playstyle just perfect. But if you want a more flexible role, if you want to be a bit tankier and you want to play the long game and you want to go after CVs, you want to chase subs down, right? Then I can't stress enough how important the legendary mod is to the Halland in 2025. It's in my opinion, it's an essential god tier pick. You need it if you want to turn this ship on and get it working for you. You can play the ship in two different styles. You can go with gunboat, with leaning into the guns, with less emphasis on the torpedoes, or you can really emphasize the torpedoes and lean less into the guns. Either way, you get an extra heal, you get quite a lot of health back. You get about 4k health back per heal, which is nice to have. And she's a fun little ship. So how did we do? Well, we've just got the Brisbane to worry about now. And we win the match. There's just two of us up, Shimakaze and myself. And the Brisbane is on very low health. So I'm just going to keep my distance and take the cup. Take the cup? Take the cup and the cap. Okay, he's used his radar. He wants to know where I am. But you can see in the late game, thanks to the legendary mod, we've got 15k health, even after a gunfight with Evolution, right? Now we've got 14k health, but my point is that we've done really well. Really, really well. And the Brisbane, so radar's about to run out and he's about to lose the match. Okay, and the Shimakaze gets the Brisbane and we win the match. Now that was Halland with an emphasis on the guns, running legendary mod with an emphasis on the guns and less emphasis on the torpedoes. Okay, I'm going to show you a few examples of some plays I've had in her over the last week or two. We'll do that next, and you can have a look at that and see what you think. Some entertaining moments, and then we're going to do another run with the emphasis on the torpedoes and less emphasis on the guns. And then after that, I'll do a full breakdown of the two different builds I was using, so you get an idea of my thoughts on my total thoughts and thinking process with the Halland. This time the map's loot, and I'm being shadowed by the Halford. Our Begonia isn't being very useful at all. We've been left in a pretty horrible situation with only myself and the Begonia in play against a radar cruiser, 2 destroyers, and a battleship. And I am currently shadowing the Libertad with a view to a kill. I've just sent some torpedoes his way, and I'm being shadowed by the Halford. He's looking for me. So we've tried to shoot his planes down, and we get some hits on the Libertad. So far, so good. Of course, I've gone for torpedo emphasis, and I've switched to Schwirlzy, and I've removed Fearless Brawler. I held on to the RPF, and so far I haven't put any points in improving the reload on the torpedoes. They're still at 100 seconds, but I do intend to do that with my next 3 points, but we'll discuss that at the end of the video. The torps look really good on the Libertad. I got a nice torpedo wall into him. So the second spread of 10 takes him out. Kadoosh. Those are La Pampa torps, and the La Pampa is now on my case. But even without Fearless Brawler, we can. It's a torpedo boat. We can seriously outgun it. If it's a torpedo boat, most of the time you can outgun them. And that's exactly what we do here. But of course we're still 3 ships to 2, and I'm trying to even things up by taking the La Pampa. Meanwhile, the Begonia is in another time zone down at H3. And things are going well for me until the radar cruiser, the San Martin, pops into view at F7, and all of a sudden I'm in a whole world of pain. I'm firing into his smoke, and I know that he's reversing. Well, I've got a pretty good idea he's reversing, so I'm trying to imagine where he is next. And boom, we get him. And then, unfortunately, the San Martin gets us. And we try to disengage. Desperately try to disengage.
Engine boost deactivated.
Meanwhile, our Begonia is in another time zone. We go dark, and boom, he just gets us. Okay, loop again, but this time a different team, different set of circumstances. They're Jaegers chasing our Essex at the top of the minimap there, and I'm trying to secure us another cap because we need 2 caps to win. And I'm just laying torps down on the curve first to ensure he keeps running. And we have carriers in this match, and their carrier has torpedo bombers out at the moment, and I have the curve first basically backing me up, which is more than I could have said for the Begonia in the last match. Do look after your destroyers, gentlemen. Do look after them. Oh, and ladies, of course. And you see I tailpipe him, get a flood, and sit on the cap. Now this automatically stops the point timer for this cap, so they're not getting any points from this cap anymore. But as you can see from the points above, it's quite a close run match. Yes, the enemy is about to win. And now the carrier has a lot to say about this, so he brings his torpedo bombers through to light me. I get hit by Kerfer's secondary fire, and then he gets ready to do a drop. You can see the torpedo bombers lazily turning towards me.
Problem solved, sir.
And I stick my AA on. I go hard to starboard with my rudder in reverse, and realize that middle torpedo is going to hit me.
Deactivated.
So I do a little wiggle, a little adjustment, and that torpedo removes all the paint from my port rail. It doesn't get closer than that. It really does not get closer than that. I've remained dark the entire time by not firing at the curve first, so the only time I was lit was while the planes were above me and I was using my AA. Which I kind of had to. He's now sending rocket planes our way. And I'm sitting on cap, questioning my life choices. I've turned my AA off, I turn it back on. I'm trying to support the curve first here and remove some of the sky cancer from his life. And you can see at this point we've shot down 20 planes if you check top right, and we've done over 102,000, 103,000 damage to the planes that we are fighting. At the moment we shot 2 more down, so we go up to 22 planes shot down, and we deal with the curve first. Very good player in that curve first. He backed me up all the way. It's great to see teamwork, isn't it? And then I spin round and we collectively take the cap. Meanwhile, their Jaeger is still chasing our Essex. And what this clip shows is how strong the AA is. Look, we've shot 30 planes down. Okay. And we've managed to maintain cap control because we have the legendary mod. So we were able to use our heels to keep ourselves upright. And we didn't have to withdraw at any point. I actually get a Dreadnought medal at the end of this match, amusingly enough. And we win it. Okay. Anyway, that's torpedo focus. Right, this time we're on Sea of Fortune. Again, no Fearless Brawler. I've switched to torpedo focus with the legendary mod. We just lose 10% on our guns when we are detected and shooting. Okay. It's a fair trade-off. What do we gain? Well, if I'd gone with the full 21-point captain, we would have gained extra reload on our torpedoes. Reload would have been reduced, is what I'm trying to say, by a further 10 seconds. And 10 seconds is here or there, really, ultimately, at the end of the day, but it can, I guess, make a difference. At this point, we now have a pretty good idea of the team's positioning. The Moskva is going into the A and B caps. We've got the Begonia and the Libertad all in a conga line with the Wisconsin, who's peeling off now to go into the A and B caps to contest. There's no sign of the black. The black is what I'm looking for. I'm getting ready to bail, should I need to. He should be coming in strong and smoking up and radaring me shortly. But there's no sign of him. I'm just going to turn hard to port, and there's the radar. Weird play from the black. So we're just going to move away to get out of radar range. We're right on the edge of his radar. You see he's over there in that smoke cloud. And okay, so we didn't get the cap, but nor did he, and we didn't really take much damage from that. So I'm now going to torpedo his smoke with the hope that he'll sit in it and get sunk by the torpedoes that do 90 knots. Those will push him out of the smoke though, hopefully, if they don't hit him, which will basically remove his advantage. They also seem to be bearing down at a rapid rate of knots at the Begonia. Now, of course, because I've gone into emphasis on torpedoes, my torpedoes are now doing 90 knots instead of 84, which they were doing under the gunboat build. That's something else I probably should have mentioned. You do get an increase in your speed by 5 knots because I've swapped out the aiming module for the torpedo module in slot 3. Okay, we're lit. So I can only assume the black is out of his smoke, which he is, and he's firing at me. So he's also at range. There's no point in firing back. We're going to remain dark. And
Solved, sir.
you see, with the legendary mod, I can just heal that damage straight back. So I was down 4k damage, and now I'm just going to get it all back. So it's like it never happened. She's very forgiving with the legendary mod on. As long as you position yourself well and make yourself a difficult target, you can get out of most situations. You gotta love that Pan-American accent. It's quite distracting. Okay. Now I'm going to send some torpedoes into the A and B cap with a view to hopefully catching someone unawares. And then we're going to just move away because it looks like the Begonia is going to push C, and I really don't want to get caught in a Begonia push. Okay, there's the Moskva. Torps look good for the Moskva, actually. Torps look really good for the Moskva. Now we need to get rid of him because he's a radar cruiser, and I'm being fired upon by the Begonia. Okay, we get 2 hits on the Moskva. We go into smoke, fire on the Begonia, and somebody radars us. But we're behind an island. We're in a pretty safe spot. Looks like the Moskva might be able to get his guns on us. Yes, he does. Okay, that hurts a little. We move away to use the islands for cover whilst laying down fire on the Begonia.
Torpedoes to port.
And now I'm thinking
Torpedoes astern.
it might be a good time to reposition. I've got to avoid these torpedoes as well, which is a slight pain in the neck. Those are probably Shima torps because the Shimakaze is now on the A and B caps, along with the Wisconsin and the Moskva. And they are dominating hard. It looks yeah, I mean, we're still in the match. We are still in the match. We're down 2 ships, they're down 2 ships. And the Moskva is pushing the 6 line and lighting me very shortly if he carries on at that speed. So we're just going to send some torps at him and move away. It's a radar cruiser. We're right on detect, so we need to move faster. And the Libertad takes him down for his cheek. Now this gives me an opportunity to move around and head back towards the A and B cap because I want to do several things here. I want to spot the ships that are on those caps for my team. I want to try and engage the Shimakaze because if we can take out the Shimakaze, our team will have a much easier time. His torpedoes are lethal. So we want to try and do that, and at the same time, if we get an opportunity to have a go at the Wisconsin, we'll take it. But more importantly, I want to have those caps. I want to take those caps back for the team. Meanwhile, the black's sitting on C, The enemy black, we don't know where he is. I suspect he's gone up the 9 line. Shimakaze just took out the Libertad with his very strong torpedo armament, and this is the problem. At closer ranges, it's very, very scary indeed taking on a Shimakaze, and I worry for our Kremlin, who's backing off rapidly as we speak. So it's important here to threaten the cap, potentially stop the clock, because they're going to win in 6 minutes, we're going to win in 15, so we need to switch it up. There's the Shima, he's reversing at the moment. I'm using my torpedo marker to show me the direction the Shima's going in, and the Wisconsin is moving all ahead full. And we're just going to hover around the 6 kilometer mark. I don't want to be lit by the Wisconsin at this point, so I'm moving away again to the corner, island corner. Shima's looking low, and he got caught by the black. Good play there from the black. Very good. Okay, so we're sending torps at the Wisconsin. However, that should get him off cap. If he sees those coming, he's going to go all ahead full, isn't he? Yeah, that's exactly what he's done. He's put his foot down, and he just avoids the torpedo wall I sent his way. Now we're down to just a Kremlin and myself versus their black and their Wisconsin, because their black just took out ours, which is a bit unfortunate. However, look at my health, and then you can see that their black is on half health, and I've still got 3 heals, so I'm in a comfortable position here. I'm pretty comfortable, and we're just trying to set some fires on the Wisconsin for the Kremlin. Yeah, mate, I'm on it. And we're basically going to put down as much fire as possible on the Wisconsin, and of course the Kremlin asking for all the help you can get, which is fair enough, really. Our Kremlin is looking a bit wobbly, to say the least, and their black is capping C, so it's very important that I get the A and B caps, so we're going to make that happen. Now, Wisconsin's guns aren't looking at us, only his rears, but he's totally focused right now on the Kremlin, which gives us the opportunity to shoot him up. And he doesn't have the strongest secondaries. We've got a fire on him, which is good. And yeah, we get him. Okay. Now we can move in and take the 2 caps. This is tense. I've forgotten how tense this match was. It was pretty nuts, actually, pretty nuts. So we're getting the caps. Black is still at C, but I've got him on RPF, so I know exactly where he is at all times. Another reason why I like to run RPF in comp when I'm doing destroyers. It's a very useful tool. And like I said, I've got heals in my back pocket. We're looking healthy. The only thing we've got to worry about is if he's got a smoke and a radar left. And let's assume he has. I always assume they have. So I'm going to be hyper cautious. I don't want to get caught flat out in the open with a smoked up radaring black. So we're going to use these islands around the cap to keep ourselves safe. Islands are definitely your friends against radar. I'm going to drop some torps for him. I dropped some torps there just to discourage the idea of him pushing into me. And the Kremlin and myself are now advancing towards his position. Incredibly cautiously. And I'm lit. So he's between the 2 islands there. He's just sailing across now. He's probably seen my torpedo wall.
Engine boost deactivated. Roger.
And he managed to avoid it. So we're just going to back up now and hide behind this island, because I want to get close. I want to get close up and personal with the black to such a point that his radar doesn't matter anymore. So we're just going to reverse round here. He's got to cap. The pressure's on him now. We win in 5 minutes. He wins in 7. The Kremlin is now taking C, so he has no caps. We win in 5 minutes. He needs caps badly. Kremlin is putting the pressure on. And I'm going to hold these 2 caps for all I'm worth. He's moving around. He's hovering around the other side of this island. As you saw, he's just heading from left to right. Very cautiously and very slowly. That's the thing about the black. She is quite a slow destroyer. You can definitely outboost her and go faster than the black in the Halland with the legendary mod. Okay.
Victory is in sight.
And here he comes. He's radaring to check my position behind the island. I expect to see him any second now. And there he is. And I was completely prepared for this. We're within 2 kilometers, which is great. I send torps. He backs away. I've got half a mind on his torps, but mine are going to reach him first. There they are. There's his torpedoes, and down he goes. Match 1. And we narrowly managed to avoid both spreads. Okay, so that's the Halland with emphasis on the torpedoes, and it's the slightest of emphases on torpedoes or guns. I'm pretty undecided on this one. I think it doesn't really matter, and it's really down to personal preference and how you want to play her. If you want to be a little bit more shooty, go ahead. If you want to be a little bit more torpy, go ahead. I don't think either playstyle is going to affect your experience that much. But opinions may vary, so please do drop some thoughts in the comments. Now, after this, I'm going to go into the 2 builds and give you a full breakdown of what I think is going on with this ship. Stay tuned.
So, I've showed you some examples of me playing the Halland in both formats, gunboat and torpedo boat format, because she is essentially a hybrid. Even more so when you add the legendary mod. Without the legendary mod, you could probably argue she's a torpedo boat, and I would second that argument. But when you add the legendary mod, this bad boy, you suddenly gain an extra consumable, like a free superintendent skill, the 3-point skill. You get +1 on all of those, and so you get an extra heal, extra speed boost, extra defensive AA fire. You get a 25% boost in the amount of healing you receive, so you suddenly get 4k heals, which are very, very nice indeed. And your ship speed effectively, your speed boost effectively doubles from 8% to 16%, which gives you so much more tactical flexibility, being able to bomb off to different parts of the map at 42 and a bit knots, almost 43 knots, is incredibly useful. And that extra 8% of speed is very, very nice to have. So you're tankier and you've got an extra consumable. It does change her characteristics slightly. What are you giving up? Well, let's have a quick look. You're giving up for a torpedo, building into the torpedoes, you're giving up 15% reduction in your reload time on torpedoes, which is a fairly substantial amount of seconds. You're talking about 12, 13 seconds of reload, which you might feel that in a pinch, but there aren't going to be very many situations where you will notice it. With the other one, building into guns with your hybrid, you're going to lose 12% of your main battery reload time. So, okay, it's a small sacrifice for what? Faster boat, more heals, stronger heals, and of course extra consumables, which to me personally, having like a free skill thrown at you, a 3-point skill like superintendent, is strong. And couple that with the extra speed you get and the healing, okay, she is now a flexible long game boat that can stay in the long game.
very strong in ranked, very strong in randoms. Well, as strong as a hybrid can be in this current meta. You could argue that there are plenty of other picks out there that are stronger than the Halland, and I would tend to agree. What the legendary mod does for the Halland is it levels the player field and gives you longer sustainability, so you can stay in the fight for longer and spot for your team for longer. Okay, and the longer you're spotting for your team, the better things get. And if it's a CV match, and we do see a lot of those these days, or a hybrid match with some variant of hybrid in it, your strong AA that you bring to the party, which is third strongest at your tier, okay, behind the Ragnar and the Smarland, is incredibly nice to have, and your teammates will appreciate you clearing the skies regularly of the planes, okay, and you will shoot a lot of planes down. You will also get the option to take on those CVs later in the match because you've got the sustain and the heals to keep yourself going. So I'm a big fan of the legendary mod. I think it gives the Halland a new lease of life. Without it, she's a very mediocre hybrid. With it, she can provide quite a lot of extra value to the team you're playing with. Now, as for whether you lean into the guns or the torpedoes, I've come to the conclusion that it's really a personal choice. I tried gunboat, I tried torpedo boat. I have to say I'm slightly more in favor of the torpedoes, but as you know, with torpedo boats there is some chance involved. You've got to be good at predicting your enemy's movements. You've got to be good at second guessing them and figuring out exactly where that ship's going to be when your torpedoes arrive. And it's not easy to get that right all of the time. You get more consistency with guns, okay, in terms of damage. So you either go with torpedo modification 1 in slot 3, or you switch it out for aiming system modification 1 in slot 3, okay, depending on whether you go the gunboat or the torpedo boat role. It's entirely up to you. She can still gunboat as a torpedo boat, to be honest, but you have to pick your targets if they're low health targets and finish them off. I would recommend engine boost modification 1. It's quite important because it plays nicely into the extra 8% speed boost, giving you a total of 16% maximum speed for almost 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes of 16%, and that will come back to you just under 2 minutes later, and you get 4 charges, so you get to use that quite a lot in the match, and that plays beautifully. The synergy between this one and this one is strong, okay. If you haven't got the coal, however, I would recommend engine room protection to look after your engine and steering gears, okay. Now, as for captain build, this is the torpedo build. Now, I haven't got Schwarzy up to 21 points yet, but he's sat at 17, and this is my torpedo boat build so far for this ship. I would then fill the tubes. I find RPF gives me invaluable information because I do play a lot of ranked and competitive. Bear that in mind. I'm not someone who particularly enjoys random play. It's fun, sure, but I do like to be competitive, and I do enjoy my PvP ranked matches more so than I do the random matches that we get these days. Drop a comment if you agree. If you find randoms a bit of a slog these days, you know, with the boom or bust approach of the matchmaker, let me know. I would love to hear from you. So that's the 17 points, and then after that I lean in to fill the tubes. Okay, so that gives us what, another 10% off our torpedo reload, which is 100 seconds. That would bring that back down to 90 seconds. With the Schwarzy, you get a buff every time you hit with 8, so that brings it down by a further 5% every time. And of course you get the AA gun expert, which means if you shoot 20 or more planes down, you get a 10% boost in your continuous AA damage, which is nice to have. I would recommend Schwarzy on this particular ship. And what do you do with your last point? Well, that's personal choice, okay. You could lean into the guns to give the grease the gears or steering gears a chance, because the gun rotation is not the best. 7.2 seconds isn't terrible though. You can live with it. Or you could take consumable specialist that would bring the cooldown time down on your speed boost and your defensive AA fire, so you get them back quicker. And bear in mind, with the legendary mod, if you're running legendary module on this ship, you'll get them back faster. You have 4 charges of each, and you will want to use them during the match, so that's quite a nice little quality of life bonus pick that I'd recommend. However, we also have the gunboat build. So if I just do that, and then where is he? There, he's in my Blashviker at the moment. This is what I've been running when I'm running the Halland as a gunboat. Full 21-point captain here. And as you can see, I would pick these first, up to here, then Adrenaline Rush, then RPF, and then I'd probably tack on Fearless Brawler, and that would give you your 21-point build. As a gunboat, what can I say? The guns are quite short range, okay. DPM-wise, your HE is only ranked around 10th in the charts for your tier. The AP, you slip down to 12th on that. The torpedo DPM on this boat is actually pretty horrendous, bizarrely. The torpedo DPM is in 29th spot. The strength of the torpedoes, if you build into them, is the speed. You get 19 knots of speed. Without building into them, that goes down to 84. Still very fast, still very hard to avoid. The damage, 10,700, which is about 3k more than a Jaeger torp. Okay. Maximum range is 15 kilometers, which is nice. Not many boats have 15-kilometer range on their torpedoes, so they're quite long lances. And the reload time, of course, with the gunboat build is 100 seconds. Okay. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I think there is an argument to be made for running this ship as a hybrid with a gunboat bias, and I think there's also an argument to be made running this ship with torpedo bias. It's really down to personal taste and preference. Tell me what you think in the comments if you're a Halland torpedo guy or if you're a Halland gunboat guy, and how you like to use your legendary mod. If you don't use a legendary mod, talk about your builds. Do you lean into the torpedoes or do you lean into the guns? I'd like to hear your comments. Anyway, my name's Lone Gun, and this has been the Halland. I hope you've enjoyed the video as much as I have making it, and if you have, don't forget to drop me a like and subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you.